Out of the darkness and into the light comes your horoscope on this dark and stormy night. Capricorns, Pisces, whatever it may be, just call 976.
Here we go! This night, you're gonna find that nightmares do come true. We will find you. Trick or treat. This night, you're gonna find that people.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to 31 Days of Horror, Year 3. This is Day 12. I am Morgan Film Fan. Let's jump into some scares. 976 Evil, the directorial debut of Robert Englund. Yes, Freddy Krueger directing his own film. Freddy Krueger himself, the Robert motherfucking Englund, directing a film for the first time. And from 1988. And damn good job, if I may say so. There's lots to say about this film. I don't even know where to get started on it. But, I mean, for a directorial debut from a horror icon, it's the kind of film that I hear about and I immediately want to see. That's enough said, really. It's one of those that I basically, as soon as I heard of it, I wanted to run to the store and get it. Now, I took the opportunity to save it for 31 Days of Horror, of course, but I really enjoyed doing so, and I really enjoyed viewing it, and I'm really glad that I did save it for now. So, plot of the story. If you can't really tell by the title, there is I mean, it's the 80s too, so you don't even have a friggin' area code on it. It's just 976 Evil. I keep blowing out these candles because I'm laughing all the time. But yeah, 976 Evil, so retro. Basically, this guy named Spike, I'm pretty sure that's his nickname, but this guy named Spike, he's reading a magazine, and he comes across this little pamphlet that basically is a number to give out horoscopes. And he dials it, and there's, the other line basically starts making all these rhymes and offering horoscopes to whatever your sign is, and yada yada, blah blah blah. Of course, to get your horoscope, you need to dial 666, because it's not creepy enough to dial 976 Evil. You also need to dial 666 to get your horoscope, because this seems totally legit and totally safe, right? But what happens when people start dialing this number is they get their horoscope, but the horoscope kind of starts to really come true in a lot of ways. It starts pretty, weak and small and not that, dangerous or effective, but it's obviously starts to grow, and it kind of has like an effect on people where it draws them in, especially on their weaknesses. Where people start to invest into this number more and more. And as they do, evil starts to take play a lot more. And what happens to these people that call in is they'll basically start receiving calls from everywhere, whether it's at home or whether it's through payphones or any telephone that they basically walk by. No cell phones, of course, it's 1988. But yeah, so evil kind of starts taking over into these people's lives. Now, Spike has a cousin that he lives, I'm pretty sure they live in the same house, but it's kind of strange the way the house is designed. I don't know if it was an 80s thing. His cousin, whose name is Hoax, Hoax is a very nerdy guy. He's a very immature acting guy as well. He has very low confidence, very low self-esteem. He's always getting bullied by the high school bullies and stuff, and Spike is pretty much always sticking up for him, but Spike is also kind of a gambler, and this group of bullies, they play, I believe, poker all the time, and they gamble anyway, and Spike is always gambling with them, trying to, circle around money. He loses money. He's trying to gain a bunch back. Spike has a girlfriend who becomes really invested in the plot later, especially with Hoax, and he ends up at one point somehow stealing a pair of her panties. I don't exactly know how he succeeded in doing that. There's this thing with '80s movies. It was just the other day too with Happy Birthday to Me that there was a plot involving a guy taking a chick's panties. Like apparently in the '80s, just guys broke into girls' houses and took their panties of all things. Seems to be a staple or a trope, I should say, in '80s movies. But anyway, I digress. His Spike's girlfriend gets involved, kind of into the plot that way. Her name is Susie, and as Hoax, because Hoax still discovers this number two, and Hoax calls into it, and he, when this girl Susie embarrasses him in front of the bullies, when the bullies kind of find the pair of panties that he was hiding in his pocket or whatever, and she kind of like puts him down. Obviously, I mean, he calls the number, and the number tells him to make this kind of séance with this pentagram, and Susie is deathly afraid of spiders, so he uses this pentagram, and what the call said on the horoscope thing that he puts his pet spider in the pentagram, and then back home where Susie is, she's having dinner, and spiders start to crawl out of her food, and of course and something goes wrong, I should say, keeping it as spoiler free as possible, but something goes wrong, and shit starts to escalate from there. Hoax slowly but surely starts to kind of form into a full-fledged demon, and there is actually a lot of religious symbolism in this film. A lot of it, actually. And he slowly starts to kind of turn into this, like, complete practical effect demon. And by the end, his confidence kind of turns into a really inflated ego in a dangerous and scary way, and demonic way, and evil way, basically. And evil kind of fully takes over him until the climax, where he's basically like opening up hell, literally. And yeah, it's really cool. I mean, the practical effects and the effects in general are really cheesy. You could tell this film was kind of on a budget, but still entertaining nonetheless. It really feels like an '80s movie, and that's my biggest positive that I'm going to give this film is how '80s it feels. I mean, Robert Englund was, I don't know what, I think it was maybe Nightmare on Elm Street 5 or 6 that he was, definitely 5 that he was kind of in the middle of or finished with already. But he went on a slew from 1, 2, 3, and 4 just year after year, and you can tell that there's a Nightmare on Elm Street kind of vibe with the visuals and the atmosphere of the film. Not that Robert Englund had anything to do with producing or directing the Nightmare films, but because he was Freddy Krueger in all of them, he was definitely very involved in that scene, and he was certainly inspired, obviously, from them. When you watch this film, you can tell that he was inspired straight from the Nightmare series and just horror tropes of the '80s, and it's all great. I mean, the atmosphere and the music combined make a really, really fun midnight movie style film, and this one like really, really delivers. There's actually a second one too, and I just figured that out recently. More recently than I knew about this one. I knew about this one for about a year or two, but the second one I literally discovered probably like 2 months ago. So if I could ever find it, I'll definitely be watching that one too. But yeah, it's a cool flick, man. It's a cool '80s flick. I loved it. It has its budgets and its problems. Well, problems is a harsh word, but it's not a perfect film, is what I'm saying. But entertainment value, it's there, and style over substance. That's what I'm looking for. This is style over substance. It's got a phenomenal style, but the plot could use some work. Robert Englund had a vision, like I find a lot of directors, especially in their directorial debuts, like their first films that they make. I find this with a lot of directors making their first films. They have a vision, but because it's their first film, the experience isn't there and the practice isn't there. You can tell exactly what they're going for, and I can tell exactly what Robert Englund is going for. It just needs that tweak kind of thing. I don't know how much directing experience he has after making this film, but I mean, even for myself, for some things that I've directed and produced in college, there was the vision that I had going in, but after making it, I knew exactly what I wanted, and I was happy with the product for sure. But I knew, you know, in the future I could definitely fix like 150 things, and that's where I feel is the best way I could describe this first feature. I land on this one at 48 out of 100. That would be my score. Really enjoyed the hell out of it. Purely style over substance, but that, you know, it doesn't take away anything from my enjoyment value or my recommendation, because I recommend the hell out of it. Just wanted to see if yeah, there's one. There's a few things in the movie that actually I really took note of. There's a scene where there's a poster in the background of Critters. Critters is like one of the most classic 80s films ever, especially in cult films. And there's this theater, which they keep showing a lot actually. This theater is offering like a continuous horror movie marathon for $1.99. Not that I was alive, but I really would have missed the days where theaters were charging $1.99 for continuous horror movies. That would be amazing, man. That would be quite amazing. But anyways, I've rambled on enough about 976 Evil. So, that's my take for the day. Till tomorrow, I am Morgan Film Fan. Follow Morgan Film Fan on YouTube. And I will be back for another review real soon. So, cheers. Until next time.